So, what do you get to replace the 6 Series? Well, I give you my new 6 Series. The keen eyes among you may have already noticed it's an M6. So that means it is a regular, sleek, comfortable coupe, garnished with a 5-litre V10 capable of 200 miles an hour. It's an interesting vehicle. So, how does this car differ from a regular 6 Series? Well, on the outside, starting from the front back, you've got this larger front M6 bumper with a nice big mouth on there for lots of air intake. These dual spoke lightweight 19-inch alloy wheels. They're staggered, so the rears are a bit wider. You've got the M6 logo on the wing, as you can see here, and these side skirts which come out quite a bit further. And then moving further up, you've got these aerodynamic, thinner electric folding mirrors, which also have little puddle lamps on them here, so you don't get your foot wet when you're getting into or out of the car. You've got this lightweight carbon fibre roof here. So while this itself doesn't save that much weight, compared to the electric roofs that you find on almost every other 6 Series, you're down about 45 kilograms, and it's at the very top of the car. So lowering the centre of gravity. And the weight saving doesn't just stop there. Now I believe you get this on the standard car, i.e. the non-M6 version as well, but the front wings and the boot lid are all made out of some sort of plastic. The doors are aluminium on this, which save 10 kilograms. That's 10 kilograms over the standard 6 Series. Not many people know that. And that's the plastic I was talking about. So yeah, this car's a featherweight at just 1,765 kilograms. The rear of the car, you'll see you've got this matching bumper with the air dam there. And the quad exhausts, and there's no fakery here. These are all full-size stock working exhausts. Not the biggest, but they're still pretty loud for something that's, well, standard. Nice little telltale M6 badge there that gets everybody in their Vauxhall Corsas all excited. As you can see, you've also got parking sensors on the back and parking sensors on the front as well as standard headlamp washers. The amount of spec on this car is quite unbelievable, really. This is all. I think it's got 2 options on the car, just 2. But let's step inside and we'll show you around. So, starting from the ground up, you've got these illuminated M6 door sills, which are standard. You've got these wonderful multi-way adjustable memory electric leather seats. They've got adjustments for how much the bolsters will hug you. And they're both heated as well, and they've got this extendable base for your legs. What else? Oh yeah, lumbar support that goes up, down, in and out. So lots of adjustment, lots of ways to get comfortable in here. They don't have the active bolsters like you have on the E60 M5. I've heard mixed opinions about those. So there isn't an awful lot of space back here, but rather nice looking, high quality leather rear seats that will probably never get used. Cool, wonderful. On the inside of the car, one thing you'll notice is a plethora of carbon fibre throughout the cabin. This was also standard, but you could go for a black trim if you wanted, and some markets offered some lighter wood grain finishes, which I think make the interior look absolutely terrible. This looks a bit like it's trying too hard, I suppose. It also continues quite a lot, so there are lightweight bits there on the doors and on the rear quarter panels. There are carbon fibre bits there, and it's kind of like saying, what's the point? I don't mind it when it's functional, you know, when it's like the front cross member or the roof, which both do save considerable weight, but carbon fibre reinforced plastic? For interior trims, I'm not really sure. Anyway, so moving further down, you've got the dual zone climate control, which can all be controlled from the iDrive as well, which is here. This is also all standard for the car. There's a CD player there, a DVD player there that you can just stick your navigation maps into. And if you really want to do this sort of thing, you've got a CD changer as well. Yeah, it's full of my CDs that I'll never listen to because it's so inconvenient. Coming across it, well, this is the world's stupidest cup holder. Let's just get rid of it. So you've got the heated seats on the left and on the right. That's to disable the parking sensors or to enable them if you're in drive, if you're trying to park forwards and you haven't gone into reverse yet, then it won't know that you're trying to park. So click that and it shows up there nice and big. You've got like an aerial diagram of the car showing you what areas are closest to objects. This is a flat tyre thing, and then you've got the standard cigarette lighter, which, yeah, has it been used? It's slightly worn out, so maybe. You'd never know though. I mean, the thing is, this car doesn't smell like a smoker's car, so I'm inclined to think maybe it wasn't used, or it came from another car where it had been used. This is the SMG 3, I think. It's, either way, it's a single robotized manual, and what it feels like is a very precise, very drunk animal is changing gear for you at a very angry and clumsy rate. You'll soon find out the faster you go, the better it is. Which means around town, it's absolutely terrible. It really is. Yeah, don't leave it in drive either, because it revs the nuts off this thing. You'll be doing 4,000 RPM around town, which you might want to be doing, but I'd rather be in control myself. So you can control the gears with this stick here. People seem to have an issue with the fact it goes arguably the wrong way, but I actually like it. I think once you get used to it, it's natural that should be up and this should be down. But if all of that bothers you, you can still use the paddles on the steering wheel. It's a traditional left goes down, right goes up situation, and they illuminate at night as well, so you can see them. Not that you should be looking at the paddles. Right, this is gear change ferocity. So it starts on a default of 1, which takes forever to change gear. If you crank it up to 5, it's pretty good. If you disable the traction control, it goes into a version 6 setting, which is significantly better than the other settings. And I used to use it all the time until I put my foot down in the wet in second gear, forgetting the traction control was off. Yeah. I immediately bought more tyres and re-enabled the traction control. So what else have we got? We've got the power button there, takes it from 400 to 500 brake horsepower, which is 507 PS, the German way of measuring horsepower. DSC, dynamic stability control, so it's stability control and traction control mixed into one. You lose both of those if you click that. Electronic damper control, so it's normally on the softest of settings, but if you click it once it goes into a sport setting, and if you press it again it will then go into a sort of ultra sport setting. I find the hardest mode to be a bit too uncomfortable even for sporty driving. If we had better roads in this country, maybe we'd have more of a practical use, I'm not sure. But I've never really I've never felt like the car leans too much or is too wayward or anything like that, even on the most comfortable of settings, which is how I normally have it. You can program these modes to the M button on the steering wheel. So the M button kind of goes to a BMW default setting, allowing you to drive the fastest, the most aggressive, but you can program things in. So you can make it change the speed ferocity, or you can make it change or not change the electronic damper control. I've softened mine up a little bit, so when I got it, the electronic damper control was set to the hardest setting for M mode, and I've taken one off that. And then for a while, I did have the DSC switched off. Cool. All right, so you've got this big silvery knob thing here, which controls the iDrive system up there, which I will show you at some point. Oh yeah, and this is a way of controlling the iDrive system with your voice. It's the most useless system because you have to memorize all the commands in order to use it and say them exactly. It's not intuitive. This was 14 years ago, but we really have come a very long way with things like Google Home and the Alexa devices. There's a really weird armrest here. It will go up and then you release it by pressing this button here. I guess it makes sense, but it's the one part of the interior that feels kind of cheap. And listen, it's a kind of odd system. There's no dampening to it, and I kind of wish it didn't move. If it was just like it is now, I mean, what, 2 inches, is that really going to make much of a difference? My girlfriend says so, but I don't think so. Right, so open this up, and this is where the phone would have gone in the car, because of course you had phones in cars then, and I really want to fit a non-phony version of this armrest, just so I've actually got some decent space to put something. As you might be able to notice, for such a large car, you don't really have a lot of storage in this thing. So you can't really use this because it's just an ashtray. It'd be nice if you could get some sort of compartment in there, I suppose. I tend to put things up here, which blocks the iDrive system. And then there's the glove box here. Well, it's so small, you can't even fit the owner's manual into it. So I've just got some documents in there and a Maroon 5 CD, obviously. There is also obviously a rear cup holder, and this doubles up as quite an interesting feature. You can get your cup holder and insert it into here. So you have it stored in the car in case you need it on a long journey, but it doesn't get in the way of your front passenger. Right, okay, let me get to the other side of the car and I will continue telling you stuff about it. So starting the car is a little bit unorthodox. You may think the car has keyless start because there's no actual key thing on here, but it doesn't. It does have a push button, but what you have to do is put the key in this sort of slot here, and that activates stage 1. So now the iDrive system comes on and some of the dash lights come on. And to turn the full computers on the car, you have to click this little start button here. The engine won't start. Typical warning light for the rear number plate bulb. The engine won't start unless you put it in neutral and put your foot on the brake, and then you can hit the start button and it'll do this. They all sound rough when you first start them, it's ridiculous. Yeah, let's cut that out. Oh yeah, it doesn't like the transmission being in position neutral, so let's put that back into drive. You can hear it clunking as well as it's taking it in and out of gear. It's a ridiculous thing. These are the electric folding mirrors, so you click one button and they do this. Very nice. Right, so steering wheel, volume up and down buttons. You've got the speech shortcut there if you don't want to do this. And then that's to make phone calls. You can Bluetooth your own phone to this car, to the sat-nav. This is an earlier style CCC sat-nav unit, but the later ones had a CIC, which had more capabilities and a built-in hard drive for music playback. But what this won't do is allow you to play music from your phone over Bluetooth, but it will allow you to make phone calls on it. So it's a bit of a weird system. Maybe the standards just weren't good enough back then. Really do need to fit the latest system. One thing I'm quite keen to show you on this car is check out the range, 199 miles. Bear in mind it's 80 quid for a tank of fuel. You can see, if you look at the fuel gauge on the left, you can see that I've used about an eighth of a tank, and that eighth of a tank is 13.6 miles. Really, and I'm not kidding here, I get about 120 miles to a tank. Yeah. That's what you're dealing with. If we have a quick look here, you can see that my average, according to the computer, is 12.9 miles per gallon, and I think even that is a bit optimistic. You will see over 20 on the motorway, but you still have to be a little bit careful with your right foot in order to see that. Anyway, that's all for today. Due to the lockdown in the UK, it's been quite difficult to actually get out and drive this thing, but we've had the severity level lowered now, so I can no longer be arrested for driving this thing around the block. There are a few things wrong with it as well, and stay tuned. All will be revealed. I wonder if it'll be an absolute money pit like every single V10 BMW is. I wouldn't worry about it.